Alright guys, I'm going to jump into all the supplies we're going to need for this tutorial. You're first going to need pattern weights, sewing pins, a seam gauge, a chalk roller or some kind of fabric marking tool. You're also going to need coordinating thread, a seam ripper, a rotary cutter or fabric scissors, whichever you prefer, a tracing wheel, a ruler and a yardstick, and we're going to use McCall's 7121 to draft our top. You're of course also going to need measuring tape and some kind of pattern paper. After you've taken your measurements, we're going to move on to drafting our skirt. You want to make sure that your fabric is folded right sides together with the selvage edges meeting. And then you're going to draft out your first measurement, which was your hip plus 1 inch divided by 2. Next, we're going to use our second measurement. This was our hip bone all the way down to the floor. Whatever that number is for you, you're going to want to draw a straight line all the way down. The next step is to simply close out your rectangle piece. So just draw another straight line all the way out towards the fold of your fabric. Now we're going to use our third measurement. This was our hip bone down to right above our knee. This is going to be where our vent starts, so we just want to make a small marking, letting us know where we want to stop sewing. Move your fabric over and we can work on our waistband. We're going to be working again from the fold of our fabric. This measurement is going to be our waist measurement divided by 2. We're not going to add any inches to this or take any inches away. So just draw a straight line out, whatever your waist measurement is, divided by 2. From here, you're going to measure down 10 inches. This is going to be the same for everyone. So measure down 10 inches and then close out your rectangle just like we did on the skirt. Now you can start pinning your skirt. Fold your fabric right sides together just like you saw me doing in the video, and you're going to pin from the very top of your skirt down to that small marking that you made. That was your hip bone measurement to right above your knee. After you've pinned your skirt, you can move on to your waistband. Fold it right sides together and you're going to pin along the 10-inch width. Sew along the pinned in edges of your waistband piece using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Move on to your main skirt piece. You're going to sew from the very top of your skirt all the way down to your last pin. When you get to the end, you want to make sure you backstitch very well. This is going to be the opening point of your skirt. Now you want to press the seam of your waistband open, just like you saw me doing. Then you're going to fold it onto itself with wrong sides together. Make sure you match that seam. Place it onto your ironing board and then you're going to grab your iron and you're going to press it flat all the way around. Now grab your skirt and press the seam open. Once you do that, you're going to continue pressing in a 1/2 inch along the entire vent of your skirt on both sides. Align the seam of your waistband with the seam of your skirt and place a pin. Hold your waistband at the seam and evenly stretch it out. Make a small snip at the opposite end. This is going to mark the center of the waistband. Make sure you repeat this step to the skirt piece. Align the clip of the waistband with the clip of the skirt and place a pin. Whenever we sew, we're going to stretch the waistband to fit the skirt. Sew all the way up the vent of the skirt. Whenever you get to the opening point, you're just going to pivot your fabric and sew all the way back down. Now we're going to attach the waistband to our skirt. As you sew, you want to make sure that you're tugging on the waistband to fit the skirt. Also, use a stretch stitch or a zigzag stitch. After you've sewn the vent of your skirt and attached your waistband, you're basically all finished. I would suggest serging the seam of your waistband. If you don't have a serger, that's okay. Just press the seam of your waistband towards your skirt. Once you finish with that, you just want to sew a 1/2 inch hem along the entire bottom of your skirt. Alright guys, now we're going to start drafting our top. A tool that I use in the tutorial is a 12-inch curved ruler. This tool is not absolutely necessary, but it does come in handy if you're drafting patterns. You're also going to need a pencil, but I'm going to use a permanent marker so that you guys can see a little bit better. The pattern pieces that we need for McCall 7121 are the back piece of view A and B, and I cut my size out 3 sizes bigger than what I would normally cut out, so I cut a size 14. You're also going to need the front piece. This is the piece that we're going to modify. Lay your pattern onto your drafting paper and place pattern weights on top so that it doesn't shift around as we're trying to trace around it. To make the tie front of the top, I added a 3-inch wide by 20-inch long tie end, and I'm just going to place it at the bottom center front of McCall 7121, and I'm going to place it there at an angle. Grab your pencil or your permanent marker and draw around the tracing marks. You can use your ruler here to help you with the straight lines. Before we can cut out our new pattern piece, we have to smooth out the harsh line where we added our tie end. So grab your curved ruler or just freehand draw a curve. This is going to make it a lot easier when it comes time to sew. Okay guys, so a quick little tip that I always like to do is mark the wrong side of my fabric with an X. This just helps me quickly identify the right side from the wrong side. So now you're going to work on some pressing. Grab your front pieces and your back, and you're just going to want to press in a 1/2 inch on all the neck edges, just like you see me doing here. Sew close to the raw edge of your pressed in fabric pieces to both your fronts and both your backs. Now we're ready to assemble our top. Grab your 2 back pieces and face them right sides together, and you're going to pin along the center back. After you've pinned the center back seam, grab both of your fronts and place them right side up. Then you're going to grab your back piece and place it on top, right side down, so that right sides are facing. Pin at both of your shoulders and pin at both of your sides. Take your top to your machine and sew along all the pinned edges using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Sew across your center back seam, your side seams, and your shoulders. To finish our top, all you need to do is press open your seams, and then you're going to turn under the bottom edge a 1/2 inch and you're going to sew close to the raw edge, just like we did before. You're going to repeat that step to both armholes. To finish the raw edges of our tie, turn under a 1/2 inch and sew close to the raw edge. Once you've completed that step, you're all finished.